there's literally a Jamaican saying, like, those that don't hear will feel.
They must feel.
I am that person.
Do you mind saying that saying to the camera?
Those that don't hear must feel.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
We're going to use that. Yes, my people, you are back with another episode of the Money Tides podcast with your boy Clarence K, also known as CK Talks Money. And today we are blessed with another amazing guest, a property expert, a property enthusiast as well. We have Jade Vanriel. Jade, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. What an intro. Thank you.
I try. I always want to make people feel like a guest pastor.
Wow. Yeah, do you know, I actually feel like I have so much to share now. I have a message.
You've got an hour to live up to it, so let's go. No, nice. Jade, thank you for coming on. It's great to have you. I've been following you for some time. I know what you do, but just tell the people briefly what it is that you do, who you are.
Sure. Yeah. So I am a property, lifestyle, interiors, money, content creator on every platform. And I'm just passionate about sharing gems when it comes to home ownership, when it comes to being independent, making good choices in life. That's what I do.
Nice. Amazing. And tell us your journey. Where did that start? You know, is that something that you've always wanted to do?
No, I didn't actually know this would exist.
Oh, right.
To be honest, before me, it didn't really exist. If I'm being honest, I kind of carved this,
you were like
this path out for sure. Like, 7 years ago now? But I actually wanted to be a lawyer. So studied law at uni. And then when you leave uni, you realize the reality of that field anyway. Of course. That there's a lot more studying to do. And it's really about the luck of the draw and who you know. And I just don't have patience. So I was like, no, I'm just going to go get straight into work. And I wanted to buy a house.
Amazing.
So I needed a job. Yeah. And that's how my career kind of started. Yeah.
And we'll touch on this a bit further on later, but that wanting to buy a house, where did that drive come from?
Oh my gosh. I grew up as an only child.
Okay.
So I was used to having my own space. I've been very independent, never really needed a company. So I think that was my thing of like, I just need my own place. I always envisioned myself being this little boss city, like lawyer with my own apartment. So it was like, if I'm not going to be a lawyer, I need to have my own place. But also in my family, especially the women, like majority of the women in my family were all homeowners. So that was quite normal to me. Like my mum bought the flat that I grew up in as a single mum. It was hard, but it was just normal for me to see a woman own a home. So it was just like, that's what I'm going to do. There was no thought of, it was my upbringing was less on marriage and more on doing your own thing. And that's,
I love that because I feel as if a lot of the motivation and drive from people for buying a property now is that social media post of their friend holding the key, sitting on the brick wall and smiling. So it's good to hear yours was actually homegrown, home
it was.
It
wasn't online.
Yeah, well, this
it was not a thing. It was not a thing. That's why when I started sharing this stuff, it went crazy because it was like, this is weird. A young person at 22 talking about property, buying a house. What?
No, amazing, cool. So let's dive a bit into the money. I ask everyone this question. So I want to ask you, be brutally honest.
Go for it.
Scale of 1 to 10. How important is money to you?
Do you know what? I am not someone that really felt like money was that important to me, if I'm being honest.
At what age was that?
Until not even when I bought my house, it wasn't even that important to me. I think probably the last couple of years.
Got you.
I'm not someone that was always driven by money. It was more just like, am I happy?
Passion.
Am I doing what I love doing?
Exactly.
It's only now with like life, reality, the goals I have. I want to buy a new house. I want to move. I want a certain lifestyle, my age. That's now money is really important to me. But on a scale of 1 to 10, sorry, that's a long-winded answer.
Cool.
I would say it's about a 7 now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And would you say that would you say the importance you put on money is in any way links to your upbringing or how money was viewed growing up? So how was that in your
I think home? So. You know what? It's a weird one because realistically, with the upbringing I had, I didn't grow up rich at all. I grew up though, in a way, I always commend my mum. We lacked a lot, but she never let me know that I lacked a lot. So I was a child that grew up thinking I had money, but I didn't.
Big up mum, you know.
I didn't. So I think that's why I don't have that, like, I need to make it out of here mentality because even though I did need to make it out, I didn't know that.
Got you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so there was
yeah.
time where we didn't have electricity, but it should make it fun. Let's burn candles. Then one time our flat almost got burnt down because she forgot to turn the candle off. Like, it was crazy, but like we didn't have a lot, but she made me think I did. I had everything I needed.
Got you. So you never kind of felt like inferior to your like
I think
peers
externally people thought I had more.
Oh, really?
Definitely. I was, and I think also because she like put me in certain schools, like I was saying earlier, I went to like a private primary school and stuff like that.
Nice.
People did think that we had a lot of money, but my mom was working like 2-3 jobs to do it. So,
just to make that happen.
Yeah.
And I know it was primary school, you were very young, but would you say there was a difference in the way that kids maybe viewed money? Because you're saying this, but I remember being in school and we're selling stuff to have money, and it's like at that age you don't even need money. So you reckon maybe that experience...
I just didn't. I think I grew up not shielded, but like, because my boyfriend even says stuff to me like, we used to do this to sell like and make money. Like that was not on my mind.
Stuff, I meant like Sun and Kit Kat
sweets and stuff.
Before they try and say CK was on the roads. You know
but like it was that I didn't know people did that. I think I was very like, and I think because I was like, I started my education in private schools and stuff, it wasn't a thing until secondary school.
Because what your boyfriend's saying is very real.
And he was saying that stuff to me. I'm like, I didn't know about that. Like,
that's like every young person's story from growing up in their ends. Nah, that's crazy. And in terms of money in itself, how do you view money? Do you view money as something that, of course, we need money to an extent, but when we talk about the importance of money, when you think about money, what are the things that sort of come to your mind?
It is so important. Money it's a ticket to opportunities for people, for children, for ethnic minorities, etc. Like the one thing that holds a lot of us back is money. It's
finances,
and so that is why it is important. I wish it wasn't. I don't know. I just have this thing. I feel like it's a divider, but it is very important, of course, for us to, one, buy property, which is what I always preach about. Ownership to me is like the most important thing. That is how we end up, balancing out things and compared to like our counterparts, etc. And just, money is very important for progress.
And I feel as if you've had a lot of what I would call great representation in your life, where you've had family who are buying property, and especially not just family but women, someone you can relate to yourself, so where we have this gap right now where we aren't looking at what our parents have done, we're looking at what our peers have done. Why would you say you think things are like that?
Why we're looking at our peers? Just because social media is literally our life now. Like my general, like obviously growing up, social media wasn't a thing. In our adult years, it is a thing, and that's when you make money. That's when people make more money. You get jobs, and now you're looking at those people next to you as a means of where should I be? What should I be doing? The reason why I'm so vocal about stuff like what I talk about online is because I think on social media, there's a lot of other messages that are pushed out, and people will look at that and think things are easy and they can just get by doing the bare minimum and or whatever, or not have goals. And actually you will look back and regret that. So I'm trying to catch people before they go down that route and follow that journey instead. That's what I'm passionate about.
And I thought if we put out a lot of like generic statements and we kind of misuse them, like we say things like, don't work too hard, find balance. Or work hard, not smart. Or work smart, not hard. And it's like there's still an element of hard work required.
But these are privileged things to say. You can say those things. Like me personally, I'm now slowly getting to a place where I'm like, I don't want to work hard, I want to work smart. But that's because I've been working hard for 7 years. In this field. So but people want that from the beginning. But it's like, how does that, where do you expect to get to,
You're not coming in at the same starting point as that person.
You're not. And I'm jumping off what you just said about like balance. Something like when I first started doing this stuff and people used to say to me, like how much should I be saving? One thing I always used to say is that I don't know what balance is. Like that part of my life, that journey, that period of my life, there was no balance with saving. It was saving everything, because that's
yeah,
where I was. Like, I didn't have the opportunity to be comfortable and just save. I needed to move.
To make it
like,
happen.
I wasn't comfortable where I lived. So there wasn't balance for me
It's
at the
so
time.
true.
Whereas now, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you sharing that. And when you think about, I know you mentioned that your mum never would have made it clear or given any clear indication that there were issues with money.
Yeah.
But in terms of like financial lessons growing up, is there anything that your mum, apart from property ownership?
That was my dad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he was the one that kind of taught
that's
you
why, thank God, there was balance.
Yeah,
there was balance growing up.
Cool.
There was my mum who did so hard to give me everything, but then wasn't the best with money because she didn't have those lessons. But then there was my dad who was so strict about money. He's the reason why I bought a house young, like 100%. If it wasn't him, like on me constantly, like I wouldn't have seen the need so quickly to do it.
Got you.
And I also wouldn't have realized that it was possible
to do it
because
as well.
there wasn't anyone I could look to and be like, oh, they've done it. I was doing it.
How about at that time, like let's say your friends, your peers, people you're around, were they buying property as well? So when you were talking to them about
they
it,
didn't get it.
They were like,
I actually did lose some friends. I did lose some friends.
Oh,
yeah, because obviously I wasn't going out. There was no time for it. Like, I didn't have money to do other things. Like, I was focused on moving. Like, a majority of my friends after uni, they went back home. They were comfortable. And that's why, like, maybe some of them now are thinking, oh, should I buy? Like,
but they're probably also thinking, I can see why she was so...
They get it now.
You know
and they've come and they've asked for advice and stuff like that. But at the time, no.
Did you charge
nobody
them?
got it. No.
I'm joking.
No. But like,
cool.
but now, like at the time, people didn't understand because I was not going out. I was not fun. I had a goal in mind.
You're kind of just focused on that.
Yeah.
Cool. So we talk about relationship of money, how we view money. In terms of what you do with your money. So let's say you make money tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or let's say I give you 30 grand for a service or whatever.
Yeah.
What's your first thought with that money?
That's going to go towards my next house.
Cool. Okay. Nice.
I'm planning to buy a new house this year.
Cool.
So,
Amazing.
I mean, it doesn't have to, but it means that I don't have to use money I've been saving or equity or whatever. I can move that to something else. Okay. I definitely invest in more property. Definitely in Liverpool because my family have property there and a business there that I'm working with them on. So we have properties there and access to stuff. So I would definitely do a lot of that.
No, amazing.
Yeah.
And in terms of these principles, what is it that you maybe know now? So you mentioned that your dad was the main financial knowledge guy, but your mum was still doing things financially that were positive. What do you know now that you maybe wish you knew before?
I know now that my emotions will make me make some mistakes with money.
Nice.
Because I know that I am emotionally led. So for me, like, I would have bought a flat earlier than 22.
Oh, right.
If I wasn't so emotionally led, because I have always worked, always had a part-time job, always saved the money, but I would also spend it. And then regret it, and I would go through that cycle constantly. So now I'm like, if only I didn't have that emotional habit of like, I need to buy things to feel better.
Of course,
that's how I was, like 100%. Now, like, I'll buy something and I won't like it, and I'll be like, return it. I don't have that feeling anymore. Came from, my mum.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Oh, so she
I think
one.
Definitely. Yeah, my mum she will encourage me to buy anything that makes me happy.
Oh, right.
Got you. So because she just wants me to be happy. She's like, oh yeah, you like that shoes? I think you should buy them.
That's your mum. Yeah.
So when there's something that I really want to buy that I want to buy, I will go to her because I know she's going to tell me to buy it, and I won't feel bad.
So how did you break that habit then?
By realizing that I'm holding myself back. Like, it wasn't a quick break. It was trial and error, doing it again, and that feeling of regret and that, why have I just spent this money?
Yeah.
And like times where it's like, well, now I can't do this. You know,
because
you learn the hard way.
Cool.
And then when you do get money again, when I have got money again after those situations, I'm like, I am not spending a penny. Then you go to the complete opposite. So it's learning it. Yeah.
And I guess
I don't think anyone can tell you, like, because my dad would try and tell me, like, from my experience, you have to live it yourself. That's my opinion.
That's true.
That's my opinion.
It's not until you affiliate those negative feelings with that, then you're like, I can't be here again.
Like,
I hear you.
Listen, there's literally a Jamaican saying, like, those that don't hear will feel.
They must feel.
I am that person.
Do you mind saying that saying to the camera?
Those that don't hear must feel.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. We're going to use that.
Because, and I'm that person. Like, I have to feel to hear it.
Got you.
I can't just hear it and listen.
It's not just advice. You have to be peppered a little bit. Nah, sick. Nah, amazing.
Yeah.
So, Jade, property and lifestyle influencer. I can call you that. Property and lifestyle influencer, right?
That's fine.
Cool. And we talked about your influence of buying your first property. Let's talk a little bit about being influential in general. Yeah, cool. So I had a conversation the other day. I said to someone, look, there's people on social media, they're reading things and they're living or leading the way they live their life based on these things. Would you say as someone who is influential to an extent, you have a responsibility as to the things that you post? Or would you say you're a human being, you post what you want, what people take from it is up to them?
I think there's a bit of both for me.
Okay.
I think because of the kind of influencer that I am, I want to influence the right things.
Of course.
So what I'm influencing is people spending a lot of money and making big decisions. So what I'm not going to do is lead people down the wrong path and say, I'm just human. So no, I'm going to make sure that the advice I am giving is what I would follow myself.
Of course. Yeah.
And then on the flip side of that, yes, I am human and I am living my life and I'm a normal person as well.
No, exactly.
So I will also be a bit more relaxed on that side. I think majority of the time that I am in the other space of making sure that I'm giving the right example, but I'm trying to do less of that for myself because I just want to be me at the same time.
Because you're still a human being at the end of the day regardless. Okay. And you've worked with different developers.
Yeah, loads.
You've shown us around every property in the UK at this point.
There's more to come.
More to come.
I will build them.
You know she pulled up with a camera today as well, by the way. Just saying. So when you work with these people, what I always like to do with this is imagine you 10 years younger.
Okay.
As someone who wants to be you, but they are 10 years younger. So you've worked with brands, you've done all this stuff. Tell me how you came about working with brands and all that sort of stuff. Yeah,
so when I first started with YouTube, etc., and thought I want to work with brands, I literally just emailed them.
Okay.
I'm not someone that's afraid of rejection. Of course, it's not nice, but I'm someone that I want to go for what I want.
Just go for it.
Yeah, exactly. So I've always been asking for things. Like the first thing that I asked for, there's a few things. There was like art that I got. I think I had like 500 followers then.
Okay, cool.
Got it for free. Lamps and lighting in my house, got it for free. Sofas, furniture. Like I've got a lot of things gifted because I've asked. Then when it comes with the paid work, I've just asked.
You just asked.
Yeah. And then I signed to an agency at a period where I was like, okay, I know my following is growing and now I need to be able to charge. But in this industry, you do not know what to charge.
That's why an agent steps in.
So they know the industry standards and stuff like that. Obviously now it's a little bit different, but 7 years ago, there was
nothing like that.
Like me, I didn't know any other influencers to speak to. And also nobody was in my field at all. So this was a new, patch. Your agent will then like charge and stuff like that. But then I would start realizing the value of my work and say, actually, no, this needs to be doubled, or I think I should be getting this instead.
That's really good, know, because off the back of, big up Ramel London, Ramel was saying that she wouldn't know what to charge and she was relying on the agent to tell her what the industry standard is.
I am the most annoying client.
Oh, wow.
I cannot rely on anybody. I am a micromanager. I put my hands up because I like to be in control. So I would, even when they would charge, I will say, what did you charge?
But I guess
I will ask them before they send it. They need to approve it with me before.
But I guess even if you did rely on them, it wouldn't even really be a bad thing because they should know. They should know.
But it also depends who you're signed with because it depends on what their focus is. And again, being in a niche industry, there isn't a should know, because if there isn't anyone else that they've worked with like you, what are they going to pull it? They're going to pull it from something else, but that's a whole different industry. We're talking property where houses that I've toured can be over $1 million. They could be 400K, whatever. And I started realizing, well, if someone buys these houses, which they are buying them from my recommendation, and I'm only walking away with a couple hundred, like, or £1,000.
Couple hundred. That is a vital.
That's not, like, let's bring it up now, you know? And so I would always, and obviously, as your pages grow, you are entitled to charge more. You have a bigger following. As it goes, you have a bigger platform, like more bigger reach. So,
No, amazing. And let's say somebody does want to work with a brand, or, you know, let's scrap that. Let's say somebody wants to have an agent. Let's say that they want to work with an agent. They feel they're at the point where they need an agent. What should they be looking out for?
They definitely need to interview them.
Okay.
I remember this agent that reached out to me a few months before I got made redundant from my job. And I had meetings with them on my lunch breaks. And I remember speaking to my boyfriend. He was like, I'm going to come. And he came with me, and he's like, was the bad cop. And it's important to have somebody that isn't phased by, oh my God, these people want to sign me. Oh my God, they know so much more. Oh my God. He was sitting there like, okay, so, what, you know, like you need to have that element of interviewing them.
Of course.
Because they are working for you. You do not work for them. If you don't work, they do not get paid.
Don't get paid.
So they're working for you, right? So you need to be finding out, one, what kind of people do they represent already? How are those people doing? Go and look at their pages and their content. Are they doing well? Are they stagnant? How many individuals are tied to that one person as well? So agents will often have a couple people to their name. How is their time being spent? Ask those questions. How often will you have calls? Are they the kind of agents that will strategize with you, or are they just the people that will negotiate fees? Because my agent was just negotiations. They didn't do strategy. They didn't do no planning with me. I had to come up with ideas, everything myself, which is fine. But when you're somebody that wants directional, you expect them to know more than you. That's where we sort of would butt heads, because I'm like, I want you to tell me. I don't want to teach you about what's new on Instagram. I want you guys to tell me what I'm missing. So you need to know, and you also need to know who the agent is going to be and whether you gel together, because these are people you're going to be speaking to constantly. Are they people that are going to like go for it? Are they money hungry? Because they need to be money hungry, even if you're not.
But then you need to win off the back of their work
they
ethic.
Need to be like on it, you know. What other things? There's so many things that you need to ask an agent. Also, obviously, find out about the terms in your contract, how long it's going to be. Is it exclusive? Is it non-exclusive? Like, do you have a notice period? I did, so I had to give notice a few months in advance. Just things that you need to ask. Interview them.
Okay, great. And how do you decide? So at this point, you are freelance, you're doing your own thing. How do you decide who you work with? What do you look out for? Because I've someone that did mortgages and works with developers. There's developers that have a very good reputation. There's some that don't. So with your brand, how do you decide who you work with?
I research them.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Like I'll research a brand. I'll ask people that I know, like, do you know about this developer? Like, what do you think about them? I've never had an issue with any any developers, and I've worked with loads of developers, but all of them I've worked with, I can proudly say that I'm proud to work with. I haven't heard any horror stories. Obviously, there's always going to be some mistakes here and there, but that doesn't mean that every development they built is the same. So you can't, you can't taint a developer based off of one thing that happened in the past, because this property might be amazing now. I literally, you have to just research. And also, I remember reading something, and it was just like, in 5 years, would I be happy that I worked with them? Cool. So then I'll work with them.
Cool. So that is the property and lifestyle influencer approaching developers. Put on your hat of, you are a buyer.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to buy a new build.
Okay.
And you are speaking to a developer. I want you to just tell people the kind of questions they need to ask, because I feel as if what some people don't know is when you're buying a property, old versus new build, the process is similar, but it's not exactly the same. So what sort of questions should they be asking a developer when they go and view the property? For a new home. So obviously they do say that new homes, like, your energy bills are lower and things like that, but actually find out the differences. I would say research that. Another thing I always recommend is this is not really asking the developer, because they ain't going to tell you this, but you as
a buyer needs to research the actual market value of that area you're buying in, please. Because I've seen it so many times. I was on the other end of trying to buy a second-hand home. So it was new to that person.
Yeah.
Now I'm buying it from them. They were the first owner. And they put it up for a certain price. I offered it. My bank said, absolutely not. It's not worth that. 20K lower. So you need to research that the price that the developer's selling the property at is making sense. Is it actually worth that? Because it's new, they can sell it at a premium, but you're going to be the one, in 5-10 years trying to sell it for more, and you can't. So I would always recommend researching other property prices around that. And if it's not adding up, I would leave it alone personally. In terms of the actual developers, one, find out if there's any perks. A lot of them will pay your stamp duty. They'll do all of these things. You might even be able to get furniture. But if you don't ask, you do not get.
What's the likelihood of that?
Very likely, especially now, because they have a lot of stock that is not selling.
They're trying to shift it.
Yes, so they are like, what perks can we throw in? Throw in furniture. They'll pay for your legal bills, stamp duty, things like that. They would do it if you ask. Especially if you're showing that you want to buy it. They have a lot of stock off the back of last year's interest rate like hikes, so they'll be open to that. And then I think also the last thing is just finding out when your house will actually be completed.
Got you. Right. And those are tips, let's say, for a new build. Let's just say someone who's just buying property in general, they're dealing with your everyday estate agent on the street.
Yeah.
What sort of approach would you say they should take? They're buying their first property.
Yeah.
What should they be thinking about?
Well, do not show that you're excited.
Right.
Never.
You understand? You hear that? Don't get gassed.
Don't do it. People always like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I was that person 7 years ago, and then I would walk out crying when I lost it.
Damn.
Listen, I went through it in that journey, but don't, because then they will just feedback like, yeah, this person's really keen. I reckon we'll get them at this price. Yeah. So act like it's the worst house ever. Surprise them and come with a good offer.
Literally, even speaking from a mortgage advisor perspective, I worked within the estate agent offices. Right. And even the way they would speak about, they use the word keen a lot.
Very keen.
When they say, oh yeah, he or she is very keen, that's when we're just like, yeah, we can get solicitors, mortgage, like we are gonna drain everything out of this person.
They're clueless. You need to show that you know what you're doing, even when you don't. And I suggest you go and research it. Don't rely on the agent to tell you things. Remember, they're working on behalf of the seller. If you're someone like me and you're a searcher, you work on behalf of the buyer. So they don't have your best interest at heart. They have the sellers. So they're not going to help you get a good deal. So you want to ask every question. No question is silly. Ask about previous offers. I saw a house on Saturday and I asked, I said, oh, so is it getting a lot of interest? And they were like, oh, well, actually, it was up with 2 other agents before. Now we've got it. It is not going to sell because it's completely overpriced. And that is why it didn't sell before. So ask those questions. Yeah.
And that's another thing, because I remember clients coming to me and saying, I've seen this property, it's on the market, it's so cheap. And then I'd look at when it was listed. And I'm like, okay, there's a reason for this.
There's a reason. Ask the reason.
Ask the
why.
reason. Be inquisitive.
And why is the seller selling? Like, there's just, loads of questions.
Cool. Amazing. And let's talk a little bit about these. I was going to call them developer schemes, but I'm just going to call them developer incentives, let's say, because I've seen a developer near me say, put down 5% deposit, we'll give you 20 grand. I've heard of the deposit unlock scheme that a lot of the developers are using now. So with these schemes, and just to highlight, these aren't offered by lenders. This is the developer
side. There's Save to Buy.
What advice would you give on those sort of schemes as well, in terms of a first-time buyer?
Well, they sound amazing, but you need to make sure you can afford it in the long run.
Exactly.
Because obviously there's a lot of interest that goes onto it. Your mortgage is going, if you're only having a 5% deposit, your mortgage is going to be mad. So you need to, your repayment, so you obviously need to know that you can afford that. And research them like crazy. Don't just look at it and say, I'll do it. Ask the questions, look through the contracts, read up on them. There's information online. I do reels on these things as well. And I'll share the pros and cons, because there are a lot of pros, but there can be cons as well. And I always say, don't do these schemes unless you actually have to, please. Just because they're there doesn't mean you have to use them. Yeah.
Great. No, amazing. And I thought it was very key you said that, because the way they're advertised, it's like it's the
only way. Yeah. It's like you should
know.
be using that. No, a lot of these developers as well, development, they might have a shared ownership side, but there is private sale as well.
Yeah, of course there is.
There is. Like I just did a tour last week, and I was actually doing a tour of the private sales, but there are shared ownership too.
Exactly.
So ask them when you go to the development, are you only selling on these schemes, or can I just buy in a traditional way?
Yeah, no, exactly.
You usually can, yeah.
No, amazing. And a bit about renovation as well. So imagine somebody who has a very low budget for renovation.
Yeah.
I just want you to tell people, ideally, and I don't know if this is going to come across as like advertising, but where can people go for a cheap renovation versus I have a big budget renovation?
Where can they go?
Yeah, in terms of buying furniture
and stuff like that.
Oh
my gosh, stuff, okay. Well, obviously IKEA.
Cool.
Yeah. Dunelm is very good. I've worked with them loads, but I'm doing a few little interior things at the moment, and my first go-to was Dunelm.
Amazing.
And Home Sense, like that's one of my favorite interior shops, just because I just bought some stuff for my bedroom on sale, half price.
Amazing.
So always look for like sale stuff, look for X display in shops. Google, because there's some random interior shops online. You'll be like, test it out. Obviously, you can always return stuff, but I always recommend just try and test it.
No, cool. Yeah. And in terms of someone renovating, how much would you recommend someone has if they're buying their first place?
It depends what they're trying to do.
Let's say they're just trying to
just spruce it up a bit.
Just the basics.
Nothing too technical.
Cosmetic. Very simple stuff.
A house.
A house. 2-bed house. What's that?
Okay, 2-bed house. Yeah. Oh, that can be like a couple grand.
Okay.
3. I can get stuff done cheap because I'm hands on.
Okay.
So I would never. Okay, let me not say never, because the next house might have very high ceilings, but a flat, I'm paying that myself. I painted my flat. I'll do a lot of things myself and cut the costs.
Of course, makes sense. Okay.
I would recommend that if you have a small budget.
Have a small budget. Yeah. Cool. And when it does come to renovate, are there any other tips that you would give? Because I feel as if people glamorize it on TikTok, Instagram, but they don't always explain the process that it takes. And I have a friend who recently renovated.
Okay.
I know what he went through when renovating, especially when people say, oh, I just want to buy a beat down property and then fix it up.
Yeah. You'll get some surprises along the way.
What tips would you give people for that?
Definitely get a proper survey on the house as well.
Yes.
Before committing, because because you just don't know what you are going to find. A lot of houses that I've gone to view have an extension already, but I can just tell this is going to have to get ripped out and done again.
Wow.
It's not done properly. Leaks. Look out for things that just don't look right, and ask the questions, because you're going to pay for that later, especially if you're doing a big renovation.
Exactly.
And compare a lot of prices. Don't just go with the first
one place,
builder's price or whatever like that. Yeah, definitely.
Cool. And let's talk about also buying your first versus your dream property. Now, for some people, their first property might be their dream property, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But when buying your first place, what sort of things would you say people should think about?
Think about where you are now and in the next 5 years, I would say.
Okay.
I only plan to live in my flat for 5 years. It's been almost 7. That's fine. But it's
what it is. 2 years for lockdown and COVID.
Yeah, exactly. We'll they didn't really count. But think about your job. Do you commute? You need a station. Do you drive? You need parking. If you don't drive, you need good transport, right? Is there parks close to you? Are you planning to have children?
Yeah.
Are there good schools? Look at those things around. And that's all if it's immediate within that 5 year, however long you think you're going to live there for your first home. Your first home, flat, whatever, does not have to be perfect. And it doesn't have to be your dream home. My flat was never going to be my dream forever home. It was just a stepping stone to start. And also to make some equity, because I researched the area and knew I'm going to make money off of this. that's what I would recommend, especially if you are somebody that does want to move again. You don't want to start from scratch.
Of course not.
Personally, why should you?
Exactly.
Especially if you've put some money into that first home, like you fixed it up and stuff. You want to gain as well.
Exactly.
When you sell, if you do sell, whatever. Yeah.
Cool. Amazing. And when looking at these developers, I know we mentioned earlier you do sort of research and everything.
Yeah.
What sort of stuff or what sort of things should people be looking out for from these developers to know if they're reputable?
If the developers are reputable, well, there's a lot of forums online.
Okay.
I'm sure there are. And there's a lot of Instagram accounts about new build developers and things like that. So you Google some developers, you'll find stuff. You might even find news articles.
Okay.
There's information out there, and that should help you gauge whether, they're a good developer and stuff. But also, I'm sure they would shout about any success stories. They do that a lot on their Instagrams where they'll shout about success stories, people moving in, stuff like that. Yeah, I would say. But there are developers who are very well known. Yeah. That I would say give them a look.
Give them a chance. Yeah. Okay. In our society, would you say that we glamorize property buying?
In the UK?
Yeah.
Glamorize? Yes and no.
Okay.
I do think it is glamorous.
Yeah.
I do think it's a good thing.
It is.
Yeah.
It is,
so I do think there are people out there that make it seem like it's easy. I don't think it's hard because anyone can buy a house or property. You just have to do certain things.
Yeah.
So it's not hard. Actually, I think people make it out like it's hard, and that is how they glamorize it. I'm special because I own all. No, you're not. Well, You've just done the right thing and followed a certain trajectory. Yeah. That's what I think.
My thing always is, and listen, I'm here for the key photos and all that stuff. I don't mind.
I love it.
Literally, because it's a good thing. But I just feel as if, even if you're not going to do it on social media, amongst your peers, you need to be open and transparent about how you went about doing things.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I remember having a colleague a couple of years ago saying to me that he bought a house, and I was just like, bro, well done, like amazing. A year later,
oh no,
he's telling me that he regretted buying the house, and I was like, regretted? Like, what happened, sort of thing? And he was like, bro, when I bought the house, I did shared ownership, and I only own 25%. Now I don't want to live there no more. And I was just like, damn.
Yeah, this is why you need to have a plan and research.
Exactly.
He should have known that there would have been, you need to preempt what could come
what could happen,
like a shared ownership and stuff like that. You need to just know what could happen.
And that's why I use the word glamorize. I feel as if we all just give the nice little bit, but the background of how it happened, we don't kind of talk about.
That's why I did that, because nobody did, and I didn't know that there would be rock so that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to come and tell YouTube, because someone out there needs to know that it's not just buy a house, there you go,
it's
easy.
Not all smiles.
There was a lot of crying, a lot of no's, rejection behind that, and mistakes.
Exactly.
So in a way, yes, it is glamorized a lot.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
And in terms of what you do you love what you do?
I do.
You love what you do?
I do.
Okay. So imagine between you and your accountant, you don't have to answer this. Think about what you made last year. Yeah? In your head. Just think about what you made last year. Times it by 3.
Wait, hold on.
Quick mental math.
Yeah.
Cool. Would you do something that you hate for that amount?
Hate?
Yeah, as in something you can't stand doing. Something that you wake up every morning and you're like...
For a period of time, yes.
For a period of time?
Yeah, for an end goal, cool. I would.
Okay. Even if it means it's going to be 5-10 years to do
5, not 10.
Not the 10. You have to pass on the 10,
Yeah, I could do 5.
You could do 5?
Yeah, I think so.
So you're more
just because I would just be motivated by what I'm trying to do.
And you're trying to achieve
that
thing.
Exactly.
Cool. So when people talk about money versus passion, I know a lot of people say, don't focus on money, do what you love, the money will always come. Would you say you agree with that? Or would you say that sometimes you have to...
No, sometimes it doesn't work out like that, unfortunately. I think, again, yes, that can apply to some people, but that can also be a privilege statement.
Yeah. No,
I mean... People can be passionate about so many things. It doesn't mean that they're going to get paid to survive in the country that we live in. So sometimes you do have to do certain things that you don't necessarily love for a period of time. But then if you really are serious about doing what you're passionate about, plan for that, you know, and perfect that passion so that when the time comes, you are making money you can sustain from.
Can you think of a time where you've had to do something that you didn't exactly love?
Yeah, my last job.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, like
you have to mention the company or nothing like that.
Yeah, no, my last job, at the beginning, I actually did enjoy it. It was more so like, I really loved my side hustle of YouTube and stuff. And I just imagined what my life would be like, flexible, etc. I'm also someone that doesn't like being told what to do. And I never knew that until that period, how much I do not like taking direction from like a boss and stuff. And they were just annoying, like every little thing was annoying, like stop telling me stuff, like. And then also because they actually knew what I did outside. That was the worst. I think someone found me, and then because I think at the time, like I was in a lot of like news articles, and where I worked was like a newspaper place, so I was in their competitors, like
you just smiling.
And then they'd do things like Monday morning meetings. I'd be like, oh yeah, I know what you got up to on the weekend. And that's when I was like, I need to get out of here. Like I feel so uncomfortable. I've been living a double life in private happily, and now it's being merged. I don't like this. And so I really was really unhappy there for the last year, so much so that literally my goal was to be self-employed, but I was not prepared. Like I changed all of my passwords to self-employed. I was literally like, just
you changed them back, right?
They're not there anymore. But it was like a goal. It was every single month's goal, self-employed. There was no plan, but it was just my own way of trying to just make myself feel better and hoping that I would make enough money outside to be self-employed. I was not making enough money outside to be self-employed, but God had other plans because I got made redundant, and it was like, let's try this self-employed thing with a mortgage and all of this stuff. So it was
I was actually going to ask you how you prepared yourself for that,
there was no preparation. I was pushed into it. I wasn't prepared. I wanted it, but there was no preparation because it wasn't planned. I literally was made redundant that day. I will never forget that day. I was so shocked. But I was also happy, but scared. Happy, but scared. And on the train journey home, I got an email from a bank that I had already worked with saying like, we want to do this with you for, I think it was 5K at the time. And I was like, whoa. Like this was the biggest amount of money I had made. And literally the same day that I just lost my job, and I felt like that was God telling me, you're gonna be fine. I've got you. Yeah, man. Now you're self-employed. There you go. Yeah,
it was crazy.
You know?
Yeah. Change all your passwords back.
So changed.
what tips would you give to someone who wants? Of course, your journey's a bit different. You were kind of shoved into it. But what would you say to someone who is working, who does have their own side hustle and saying, you know what, I really want to do this, you know, what approach would you say they should take?
Have a plan.
Okay.
Especially if you have responsibilities, like let's say you have a home and things like that, you definitely need to have a plan and make sure you have a good amount of savings that will cover you for months to come, just in case your self-employed journey with your side hustle is not bringing in the money at the beginning, because a lot of the time it doesn't. People always used to say to me, the first 2 years of being self-employed are rough. That's what they say. I think my first year was rough. The second year was like, ooh, but then the third year can also go down. So you can't predict what's going to happen. It's out of your control. There is no monthly salary like that. So definitely plan ahead and save for the future, I would definitely say. Prepare yourself, prepare your skills, upskill, research the area you're trying to go into, look at what other people are doing. Is there a blueprint in that field that you can, you know, like follow and whatever? Like you really have to know what you're doing. Cool.
And in terms of, we touched a lot earlier about your financial principles and stuff. Just give me the 2 main financial principles that you stand by, things that you strongly believe and would pass to your kids.
I've never had to think about this, you know.
Got time.
All right, things I would stand by. Okay, do not buy things that you actually can't afford.
I hear that.
Okay. It took me a long time to understand that, because like I said, I'm an emotional spender. Like,
of course,
this makes me feel happy, I want it. I'm going to buy that. I want to eat it. Like, whatever. But can you actually afford afford it? Like after you buy it, are you going to be upset? Is the joy going to go from buying it? I have gone through that so much. Like the joy is there. As soon as I buy it, it's like, oh no, like reality, I haven't paid. Like I'm going to need that money for this. So that's one thing I would say. The other thing is, don't let money rule you. I think I'm coming out so Jamaican today, but don't let it rule. Don't let money and needing money or wanting money change you and rule who you are, because honestly it can just go like that.
Facts.
And you may have lost friendships, family, integrity, like morals, and you'll regret it. 100%. I think money comes and it goes. It comes and it goes. So yeah, don't let it rule you.
Amazing. Jade, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's been amazing. Where can we fiend you?
You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I don't really tweet. I hate Twitter now. Jade Vanriel X, or just Jade Vanriel on everything. X, cool. I'm gonna put those all at the bottom of this video. There's also gonna be a promo code. So Jade has offered to add 10 grand to your property deposit if you use from
the
my
Jade
bank
Vanriel
account. Yeah, any developer,
any
it applies,
developer, you know,
all across the UK.
Don't quote me on that. But Jade, thank you.
Thank you so much.
This has been amazing, so informative. Really appreciate having you on.
I'm so glad. Thank you.
Sick. My people, you've been locked in. That was another episode of the Money Ties podcast. Your boy Clarence K and the amazing Jade Vanriel. Yeah. All the links will be at the bottom. Stay tuned in for the next episode. Peace.
Bye.